You'll never believe this. That paint that I used yesterday to paint the wood burner flue was actually completely the correct colour. The reason that I didn't think it was the correct colour is because when I painted the big mess that I made with the rails over there, it came out a slightly darker shade. The reason it came out a darker shade is because I hadn't mixed it properly. I sort of gave it a good mix and I was like, well, that'll probably do. No, look, it's like the perfect shade. Yeah, I didn't realise that I was making that really daft mistake and it was causing me the differences in the colour. So that's a win, I guess. I got the best email today, and that email was from my agent just letting me know they'd be a few minutes late to our weekly meeting, which was great news because I had just started this massive 6-inch subway. After painting the flue this morning, I got on the call with my agent to talk about potential partnerships. And would that be a campaign for Instagram or TikTok? And then I got straight back on the painting. Since I've worked out that the paint colour is actually correct, I'm going to fill these gaps in the wall. This was where, I don't know if you can see it, I'll go closer, but there's some holes in the wall here where I had a shelf hung, and now I don't have it anymore. I had these holes, I filled them in with polyfiller, and I'm going to go and I'm going to paint over them so that the wall is blended. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go and paint behind this rail most of the area that I painted before I hung the rail back up, to try and even out the colour to make it all blend in. I don't want to have to paint this room until I'm ready because it's a lot of work. Let me show you the close-up. There we go, those are those holes. As you can see, they're quite messy at the moment. It's because I need to sand down all the excess polyfiller. When I'm filling a hole, I quite like to go above and beyond. I like to raise the hole so that it's it can be sanded down. Otherwise, if you just scrape over it like this, it bubbles up and it doesn't quite look right. But if you put excess on there and sand it down, it always comes out flat. And there's that one. See that little blob? There we go. I'm also going to put the second coat on the wood burner flue before I think about adding some shelves to the side. It's lucky you're here, really, because I'm terrible at remembering to put down coverings on my surfaces. I just kind of forget, and then everything gets covered in paint, or in this circumstance, everything will get covered in dust. When I sand these walls, I don't really want the dust going everywhere on my bed, so I'm going to put this down to protect it. And if it sounds like I'm really out of breath, it's because I still have a cold and I have the audacity to walk up the stairs. My body's like, whoa, take it easy, love. Oh, I just ripped this in half. Well, don't want to waste it. I've got 150 grit sandpaper on my sander. I know that this is going to be the right amount because when I sanded that wall over there for the rails, I first did it with about 600 grit and it was too fine. 150 worked perfectly. I don't want it to be too fine anyway because the way that the plastering's done leaves a certain kind of texture, a kind of like imperfect perfection. And if I sand it down with 600, it's going to look so smooth that it will actually be out of place. So 150, let's have a go. You want to get a close up? Lovely and soft. It's quite dusty in here. I should have worn a mask. Next time. When I was painting this wood burner flue yesterday, I was half painting and half trying to record footage for it. And because of that, I wasn't totally paying attention. As you can see here, I've painted on some of the paint and then got distracted with filming, and I've left it to dry too long, and so it's come up with this very, very obvious line in the paint. I didn't leave it for very long, but because this paint is quite old, it's quite thick, and it's caused it to dry out quite a lot quicker. So I am just going to get my sander and try and sand down a couple of those bumps before putting on the second coat. Coat 2. I don't know how obvious this is on screen, but if you can see just about here, there's a difference in colour. That's the colour that I didn't mix properly, and that's the original wall colour. So I'm going to see if I can try and cover this up with an extra layer of the paint now that it's mixed. I feel like you can actually see the colour difference better from here. If you can see some areas that look quite pale, that's because I actually added a little bit more polyfiller. Once I'd hung this up, some hairline cracks had appeared, so I filled those back in, and now I'm painting over them. I really don't have a lot of this paint left, so I'm trying to ration it as best I can. Yay! Let me show you how much paint I have left. You see my problem? Oh. I love the coverage you get with the final layer. Oh gosh! Well, this is real life renovation, isn't it? It's so typical. Okay. Oh. Oh, you make it look so easy. It's not easy. I have problems. Anyway, as I was saying, it's really satisfying putting on the top coat. That's what I was trying to say. I do really like this paint. It comes out a lot thicker. This paint that's designed for the top coat, and it adds loads of coverage. And I'm going to put it back down, and it's going to stick on the paper again. And I'll have the same problem tomorrow. But there we go. I'm going to try and get rid of as much of the brush strokes as possible. Hello! This is how I dry my brushes out after I've washed them out. Well, that's evidence that I've not washed it out very well, but let's continue. And that cleans it out, dries it out fairly well. And I just pinch the bristles together so that they dry more straight. And that's pretty much it. This is now touch dry, so I'm actually just going to gently lift it up, put it into place so it can dry in situ. And then when it's fully dry, I'll just nail it into place, and then this part of the project will be finished. After that, I'm going to be adding in some shelves, and I might even go and see if I can pick out some wood to put in this space in advance of this part being finished. You can tell here just how much I didn't want to leave my fingerprints all over it. It was actually a lot wetter than I realised. I thought it was pretty much touch dry by this point. But once I'd already started, I was feeling quite stubborn. I just wanted to put it in the right place so that I could get rid of the newspaper and just do some general tidying up. I do also need to go and just paint over a couple of little blobs that I made on here when I wasn't being particularly careful with the brush. I made a fair bit of mess up here when I was plastering, and because of that I wasn't too fussed about being too careful with the paint either. So I do need to go through and just tidy up a little bit of that with the white paint for the ceiling. There we go. Another successful DIY. Almost finished for today. One thing I did forget is to put these vents back on. So that's my last job. I've just gone downstairs to pick up some silver screws. I had previously drilled them in with some plasterboard screws temporarily, but they obviously mismatch with the colour because the plasterboard screws are black. Right. Now that I've plastered it, I can't see where the holes were, so I guess I'm gonna have to just do it by eye to make sure that it comes out straight. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, I could go downstairs and get a level measure, but I can't be bothered. That's the truth. I'd rather it was wonky. What you'll see me do next is to try and screw the screw directly into the hole. I'm trying to screw it in so that it has some purchase and it sticks in there, which will make it easier when I come to drill it in. I go quite slowly when I start to drill. This is because if you go too fast or apply too much pressure, it kind of slips out from underneath you. Before I fully tightened the screw, I just made sure that the vent was actually straight. Don't want to over tighten these because it's just going into the plasterboard. Oh, gosh. Turn the light on. The only issue that I do take with these particular vents that I've bought is that they don't have any recess for the screws. I have used quite big screws, to be fair, but because there's no recess, they sit proud and that makes them look a little bit unsightly. Thankfully this area won't be very well seen. It's here hidden in the corner anyway, and because I'm going to put shelves up there, it's not a huge deal, but perhaps if I was going to buy them again, maybe I'd think about getting ones that had a small recess for the screw. Now I've definitely finished for today.